One path or many? That is going to be the topic of this episode of Chi Life. So I'm here in Georgia, in the United States. You'll see why I'm specifying Georgia in the United States later on the vlog. And at the moment I've been up in the mountains with a group, and we've been doing some Qigong together, having some really great experiences. Particularly we've been exploring the 5 elements, which has been a lot of fun. And so today we're visiting a waterfall. And as you can see from the sign that I had at the beginning, you know, there are paths, and there are actually some other paths going in different directions as well. And I thought this was a good opportunity to discuss something that often comes up in Qigong in terms of people's individual practice and how they choose to decide what to spend their time on and decide what to put their focus in. So I don't know how long it's going to take me to get up to the top, but you can come with me on a bit of a walk up through the forest and up to the waterfall. So do you choose to follow one path, or do you possibly choose to follow several? Is that a good idea or a bad idea? There are a few things to consider about this, and it really depends a lot on the stage of your Qigong practice. Of course, it's impossible for you to follow 2 paths at once, in terms of if we're talking about walking up something, because you need to stay on one path. If you know, to go onto another path, often you'd have to go back down the hill, go up another path. You're not going to make much progress that way to keep trying to work on 2 paths at once. But early in your practice, it can be very healthy to have a good look around before you choose a path. Have a look around, read the signs, maybe talk to other people who've been up the paths to see if a particular path is going to take you where you want to go, to see how difficult it is, to see if there are any issues ahead on the path. So I think early in your practice it's really healthy to look around in terms of Qigong. Look at different types of practices, look at different teachers, different schools, talk to the students from different schools to find out something that will suit you, that's going to meet your needs and that you're going to enjoy. Once you're on that path though, you really gain a lot from just sticking with that path and continuing that path to reach your destination. Unless, of course, maybe you reach some obstruction so you can't continue, then maybe you need to find another one. But once you have done that, once you have followed the path, it then actually becomes quite healthy to look at other paths again. You know, I'm going up one path now, up towards the waterfall, or alongside some waterfalls at the same time now. Just little ones. Might not see too much of them through there, but some little waterfalls. But once you've completed one, it can actually be very valuable to look at some of the other paths and maybe explore some of those as well. Maybe you'll get some different views from some different angles of the same terrain, which you might really enjoy, might really give you some more details. One of the things that seems to crop up reasonably often in the world of Qigong and other practices as well is we find people who have gone part of the way up one path, and they then decide that that is the only path. They think there are no other paths. And this can lead to a really limited perspective, a really limited understanding of the possibilities of Qigong, the possibilities that they might get from their practice. So I think really you can gain a lot at 2 different stages from exploring different paths. At the very beginning, to choose a path that you want to put your time and your energy into, and then later on I guess through a middle phase, it really helps to be devoted to one path. By being devoted to one path, you're able to really go deep and truly understand, explore the terrain that you're going on and understand it well. Then, once you've gone far enough that path, possibly the end, I mean, is there ever really an end? But far enough along the path to a point where you've now explored the terrain, you have a good understanding of it, you can then explore other paths and get more out of them. You can explore those other paths and understand that they may be looking at the same thing as you looked at from the other path from a different angle. Until then, you might, if you're only part way up the hill, part way up the path, you might be confused and think when someone talks about something different, say, no, that's not there, I haven't seen that on my path. You don't have enough experience yet to truly know what others might encounter from other paths. If you look at any of the really good teachers, any of the great masters from any system, generally they have been along multiple paths. They may have one primary one that they have spent a lot of time on, really dedicated themselves to. Here's some of the guys doing some Qigong. And really gone deep into it. But almost always, once they have gained their knowledge and understanding of one path, they have explored others as well. And this, even if they then continue to choose to focus on their one path, and that be their practice, it enriches their understanding. Sometimes it might help them to understand maybe some shortcuts or some more scenic portions that they may discover, some other interesting things that weren't really much of a feature of the path that they were on originally, which they might choose to incorporate. Other times it just helps them to understand their original path in more detail. So anyway, just a few little thoughts as I go up a path. This is a rather beautiful view out over here, out looking into the valley. I'm sure there's going to be an even more beautiful view as I go higher up. And maybe this will give you some things to think about with your Qigong practice. I guess again, as a beginner, look around to find something that you're comfortable with to begin with, something that you think is going to give you what you want. Later on, be dedicated to what you're practicing so that you get a chance to really know it, really understand it, really deepen your knowledge and experience with it. But later on, once you're far enough along, very healthy, look around, explore different things. No school, no practice contains every piece of information. You're going to find lots of different things along the different paths. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, I guess I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Come on, go. Thank you.